shocked at. I mean, there is a red purple film law deck that like you could play for the couple weeks that we have left of this meta game of like this weird 4.5 meta. Um, so like, there are some playables here, not not too many, but again, the price for these are pretty ridiculous considering. I'm hoping that we get reprints soon or some sort of confirmation because this is a quick way to have the deck game die if staple cards like this are going to be $30. But yeah, so there's that. I just wanted to talk about that really quickly. I'm hoping that Bandai fixes these. This is pretty outrageous for, again, $75 for a starter deck. Let's be real. They're retail $11.99 or whatever they are. And then obviously we'll talk about the regionals, both online and also I'm sorry, offline, and then the online treasure cup I took place in. I'll show you guys my deck after. It was a fun one. I played pretty poorly in one game, unfortunately, which kind of took me out of contention for another top 64. Granted, I was playing off meta, so I wasn't trying to win anyway. um, but real quick, we'll talk about Brisbane. EU offline regional is offline. Yeah, I'm assuming it's offline because I don't think we had any more online regionals. But it was Law who took it, Doflamingo second, Crocodile Katakuri. I don't know if there was any recordings of these. I didn't get to really watch, but the big takeaway is people were going to Issho as a replacement for Nami, which makes sense because you want an on-play searcher. Momonosuke and Bonnie being two tap searchers is kind of too hard to defend, as well as they both search out green cards, which doesn't help you because the way your leader ability works. So Issho was an interesting choice. I'm not a fan of the deck, to be honest with you. I think its success was wholly on the part of the fact that people that weren't sure of what it was going to look like, how it was going to perform realistically, and probably caught people by surprise. But the low power on a lot of these cards and the inability to search out your good cards with Nami and Dadangon, in my opinion, just resulted in a pretty shit deck. Again, no, not taking anything away from the people who got top. He got first, and I think there was another player in core who got second, or it was one of the online event or in-person events where Law was second. Not second, but he was, because the way the tiebreakers in the game work, I don't know if it scuffed him at all. But he was in the final, so that was really cool to see. But again, I'm not a fan of the deck. I think if you had just played into the deck properly, you probably had a good chance. I think starving this kind of version of Law out would have been the best thing you could do, given how weak his deck is in terms of like searches. Like unless it's literally the Laws and Luffy, your hits are pretty crap. Thatch can attack on its own and still needs a Don to attack. This, I don't know. I guess it combos with this. Again, just really weak cards by comparison to what Nami was helping you find. So, not a big fan. Again, props to these guys for making it all the way. I know somebody in the comments is going to go like, oh, you're just a Law apologist. Look how broken the leader. It has nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with the fact that people definitely did not know how to play against the deck or didn't know what to expect, so they were probably just swinging willy-nilly and then getting punished for it. The deck that, obviously we expected to see a lot of was Katakuri, and we were all right. One taking a top 4 spot. Crocodile, one of my favorite picks. Unfortunately, I don't have any blue playables outside of Nami to have played it myself. I'm pretty sure this was the Pasadena one where Law was in the final. But Katakuri took that one in a nail biter of a game. I believe the Katakuri saw a Thunderbolt early on, bottomed it with his leader ability, so that when Law was going for game at the very end, the Thunderbolt secured the win by removing his last viable attacker. So that was really cool. Again, expected to see this pretty much with Katakuri and Dofi. Another takeaway was the Roronoa Zoro. I'm surprised there wasn't a lot more people playing it. I'm a little tongue-tied lately. Only because this Roronoa Zoro deck is pretty much almost exactly the same because they weren't playing Nami to begin with. And we are missing our best attacker in the deck, being in the Marco. Like if you stuck two of these on board and just kept swinging pretty early, there was a very high chance you were winning that game, no matter who the leader was, including Whitebeard. So yeah, this was a slight variation on the cross AI list. No Diablo Jambe, I think, was a mistake. I still think Jambe Fiery Doll is what I want to have as like a backup option for the deck, being that we are playing Buggy and Izo. Um, and Buggy being able to find like our combo finishes at the end are pretty good. So moving on to the event that I played in, which is a Top Cut Treasure Cup. Dofi took it. I think Vampire from Twitter. Pretty sure that's who this was. He played Ace to a top 4, which was pretty nuts. I think he only lost his final game or something like that. I believe. I don't know. Only because, again, tiebreakers in this game suck. You could be like doing so well and then like look at your opponent breakers and then realize like, wow, I'm not going to be in the top 16 or something like that. That's how crazy those can get. Really cool to see like the diversity in this top 8 that we had. We had Katakuri, a Zoro, a Nami, a Croc, an Ace, a Kid, a Dofi. So it was pretty cool. The ban list did what it wanted to do, which was shake things up. Moving on to the last topic. Actually, I'll show you guys my deck list real quick. So real quick, again, I could have finished the day at 7-2 or even 8-1 had I not, had I not thrown a very important game. So I ended up playing really bad sequencing. Again, it was later in the day. I was tired, and I sequenced incorrectly. So I swung with Kobe before playing my Sabo and then got punished by a black Luffy, unfortunately. I had him dead to rights, but unfortunately, him getting his shockwave off life and not respecting it, because he already shocked wave from hand, cost me my Kobe, which in turn cost me the removal with like a bounce law to kill Sakazuki. And then by the end of the game, that Sakazuki was just bonking me on the head for game. Real quick though, like some similarities if you pay attention to OP-05. I was trying to like really look at what Sakazuki does. Obviously, we're nowhere near the same power level. Our leader needs to attach a Don to get his cost reduction, and on top of that, we don't have draw, or it's more like a cycle, being able to draw and discard the way Sakazuki does. But we do have some interesting play with the deck. Again, I could have finished the day at 7-2, but I lost very stupidly, like I said, just to being tired. But the deck was really cool. I was able to beat yellow 3 times out of 4. So there is that. I beat Yamato and 2 Katakuri. Or I'm sorry, I lost the Yamato and I beat 3 Katakuris. Just because our removal package was really strong at managing his mid game. And even if he hit like a couple of triggers, I was still able to answer. And then maintain defense the whole way. Him not being able to answer any of my blockers efficiently. Unless it's a Thunderbolt out of life, and even then, if I had played Sabo correctly, which was a really big factor in me winning one of my games because it just turned off Thunderbolt entirely. And then also being able to punish a player who tried to save Thunderbolt for last by swinging really big, like forcing the issue and keeping him on 0 life, because you cannot play Thunderbolt with 0 life. It is a cost that must be paid. So yeah, and then our removal package was just really good. So I had a lot of fun with the deck. I tested this deck for weeks, to be honest with you, even before the ban list came through, just because I like having like a fun deck to play, and Issho was definitely that for me. But yeah, so really looking forward to moving on to Sakazuki, which is the topic of the next thing. So this was from YT Noah. Amazing. I believe he's a Singapore player, caster, and content creator. Amazing takes, really cool stuff that he reveals on Twitter. He was actually the first, if I'm not mistaken, to come up with the, they call it the trash loop with, what's it called? with Manchuri and Rebecca and just being able to recycle cards from the trash and maintain constant value. The deck itself, if you don't know, just leverages an obscene amount of
Is a champion for
removal, and being able to rebuy, like I said, just puts you so far ahead. Just again, he has a little bit of mirror tech with the Borsalino, so it has to be bottom deck to be answered. And just strong removal options. They call it Sakaluchi in the JP meta, just because you're able to reduce multiple things to the point where this Lucci can actually KO pretty sizable threats, like, you know, big attackers. Ice Age is part of that, and Great Eruption as well. Great Eruption just being a really cool cantrip. Cantrip being just a one Dawn, draw a card, do something. So really powerful in conjunction with our leader ability, and then obviously all our amazing removal. Manchuri, you bottom 2 cards from your trash to buy back a cost 3 to 5 card from your trash. Rebecca on play gets a believe a 3 to 7 from your trash to your hand. And then you can play a 3 cost or less from your hand. So a lot of interesting combo potential here. This Hound card, which I was trying to copy with Meteor Volcano, but nowhere near as powerful. Not Meteor Volcano, the Hounds give something plus 3k and bottoms at 2 costs or less, which is pretty easy, which means you can get around some any like non-KOable stuff like Borso, or just answer big threats that normally your opponent would be like, oh, I'm fine. No, you're not. And then Kuzan again, just draw and more efficient cost reduction. A big takeaway from what I've noticed is a lot of people were playing the 10 cost Kaido just to leverage extra cards in the end game. Another point that Noah makes is that Sakazuki is dominant. We're talking dominant to the levels of Boatbeard in a way. This was him comparing the numbers across season 1, and like the wins that the decks had, or the leaders that had the most wins. Whitebeard only taking 2, and Sakazuki in a most recent one, if I'm not mistaken, took the top 4 spots. he was 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. He is that good. What else is there? And then just to reference his tier list real quick, I couldn't agree more. The way the metagame shaped up was this blue-black Sakazuki, people figuring out how to play. He is a very skill-intensive deck. I know people shit on red, but like red wasn't an easy deck to play at a high level against mirrors, etc. Again, Sakazuki is on that same level of difficulty in terms of sequencing, proper management of resources. So he is very tough, but in the right hands, he's very clearly a very powerful leader. And then in the tier 2, or in my opinion, it's more like a 1.5. This is just to have this is just to have a more clear idea of who's top. But I would say that Luffy, Katakuri, and Enel can all be extremely powerful. So there's that. And then Red Purple Luffy, without any of the stupid restrictions that NA has, is actually pretty decent. Being able to play big fat fatties very quickly and efficiently. So I would say if I were to do it, it'd be 1, then 1.5, then 2. Because again, I think a lot of people look at this and like, oh my god, Zoro's not tier 4. How that's so shit. Like they're thinking like that's the same tier as like King or something. But again, this is just to show you the order. Red falls off extremely hard. Again, the Lucci package, being able to just pop 2 cards at a time, plus really efficient blockers and removal, consistently the whole way through. Good luck maintaining any kind of board. Ace, again, against a deck that has rebuy and non-KO, any way you try and build Ace is just not going to work. What's her name? Bello Betty, deck was super cool, but again, the fact that she eliminates her own hand to get like these giant swings on you, while very effective when it does work, is also detrimental. Like if you're not winning the game outright, which is a big problem with the deck. Um, so that is definitely why these 4 red decks are in the bottom of the lists. Can beat any other deck most likely. However, again, when we're talking about the decks above it, it does become significantly harder. While they can beat things like Law, Law has better matchups against the things in the same tier and above it. Again, now you can come at me and say, "Oh, but look at Law. He's still going strong. Like he's okay. Like he's just okay. He's a very good leader. Again, the better the pilot, the better the deck looks. Um, but again, struggles against things like Sakazuki. Enel can be kind of annoying with the ability to never die, so that is a problem. My red-purple Law deck, I love this deck. Again, for the same reasons, he can go wide pretty quickly, but Sakazuki just has hands that beat the go wide strat with Lucci. And suffers a little bit against the ramp decks just because they start getting bigger and it becomes a lot harder to just remove while you're building your board. This green Uta deck is surprisingly not surprisingly actually, her leader ability is really strong. Is really good. But again, just falls short of the decks that are above her. Green has never had a good matchup into black. And then the yellow matchup is always kind of coin flippy in my opinion, even with the film go wide. Just because, again, Enel presents like a whole new level of difficulty to the game for decks that are weaker than it. And then Big Mom is always a card. Go Tall, Big Mom, and there's a new Gadatsu card. 5 cost, 6k, removes a character, and I think it's based on like your opponent and your life total combined. So like a mini 9 cost Yamato without the life gain. So he definitely gets a big bump again. And recently became more popular because, again, Big Mom is pretty strong against black decks, even against a deck like Sakaluchi where like you have very efficient removal combos. But again, he presents just a different angle of attack that Enel doesn't have by being able to eliminate the life and just make it a little easier to maybe swing for a final attack in the end. So Katakuri picked up a lot. He also wins the yellow mirror in my opinion, thanks to Big Mom. Again, the same thing that happened to Yamato in the set that we're playing now. Like, why would I play Yamato when I can play Katakuri and get access to 10 Mom? So that's always a thing. And then the middle of the row, like, just, in my opinion, still one of the best decks because of what it does, is the purple Luffy that has Dawn Ramp built into card draw, basically, the way, like, Whitebeard was doing it, where, like, he's just drawing his life cards, so you can't starve him. He ramps very quickly, and then he just plays efficient bodies very quickly on turn 2, and can get out of hand pretty quickly. 9-drop Kaido comes back in a big way thanks to him. Just being able to answer any of the mid-range boards by removing it with the effect, and then just swinging into anything that's left. So Purple Luffy definitely, while he's in the tier 2, quote-unquote, still, in my opinion, very close to Sakaluchi. I keep saying Sakaluchi. Sakaluchi in terms of like power level. Like I think these two are the best decks in the format, and then the yellow decks are, one's a gatekeeper, and then the other one actually has pretty good game against the best deck. So yeah, that was a mouthful. Go check out his channel. Go listen to what he has to say about it. Very good take. Very amazing content creator. Again, he gives us so much information. Same thing with Eggman. Always on top of getting these deck list results out. So very appreciative to him as always. But that's it for my spiel, my content. Let's move into a deck list. All right, gang. So we have a janky film Law deck. Janky in that we're like missing a couple pieces, and I'm also playing a card that people are gonna be like, what is that even? And it works in our deck, so I like it a lot. So we took the JP tech of Queen Ace, just being able to help us contest mid-range boards. Aggro is dead. We are the aggro deck in my opinion, the only aggro deck that survives and does pretty well because we're pretty untouched from the ban list. I was never going to play Nami in this deck anyway. Um, Sorry, taking a sip of coffee. Queen, again, just serves a very strong way to help us filter through some cards, get rid of any dead cards in hand, which happens. And then just being a nice sticky body, who we do get offensive with. Guys, we have blockers in the deck, but don't forget that we are trying to win quickly. And swinging with Queen, Uda, Law Blocker, like those are all things that we should be doing. And then obviously the reason why I went film was because of Karina, of all things. I like having the Uta access, obviously, but Karina is extremely powerful in that she gives us Dawn Ramp for cheap and serves as a blocker for most of my opponents. We don't have access to things like Zoro Juro from set 5. We don't have access to, we do have access to our Beppo and our Shachi Penguin, which are quick ways to like recoup some of the value that we lose by Dawn minusing, but she's an extra way to do that, the way that Zoro Juro does it. Again, in a way to just filter out any like dead film cards we have, which does happen. Ein is another way to just Dawn up. Again, we don't have access to 5-drop kit. That's who we're missing as well, as he just mitigates any of the Dawn that we lose per turn, while also being another 5 cost 6k blocker body. So these two are like our way to maintain Dawn advantage still, without going too minus. Buena Fiesta, I had someone respond to one of my messages on Reddit. He's not a primary searcher, he's a 2K. I'm just, obviously you're playing a film package, you're gonna run him. But our film hits aren't the greatest, to be honest with you. It's just, synergy with the rest of the deck. Being able to find Law if I really need to. Gordon's, obviously. Any of these things, so pretty good. And then, obviously, we're running some pretty standard stuff. Otama, just to help us stay in the game with another 2K or helping us combo. Sanji, I think we have to play it. Again, when people start to play properly into these aggro decks that like don't have good card draw anymore, or don't have card draw period, like this deck really, Sanji is a good way to help us from being starved out. Zoro, obviously we're playing a very combo centric leader and being able to like remove and build board, and he's just another way to maintain aggression, so we can remove something and then bam, play a rush card. And then I already talked about Ace. We don't have access to Gamma Knife, so we are playing a very scuffed card in Roundtable. It's a big chunk of our Dawn per turn, which limits our offensive capability, but it is a necessary thing that we need to play. Being able to get rid of Katakuri, Tenmom. If they're ramping, you can get rid of any of their big drops. Like, it's just a way to stop us from dying and then, maintain that aggression on board. This Law, I think people overvalue the Dawn minus to discard in this deck specifically. It's not that great. Most people, NA specifically, like they're still taking their time to realize like, oh, purple has this now. So you can definitely catch opponents off guard early, but as the game develops and well into set 5, obviously, this is going to be harder to do. So I don't want to run the full 4 copies. I think 3 is just fine as a way to answer those things. But other than that, pretty self-explanatory. We are a 4 life leader, so Rad Beam's always good. I'm not sure about the guard point. Obviously, if we were playing set 5, this would just be 2 Rad Beams, but we don't know what Bandai is going to do with us yet. We're the exception to the rule in terms of like how they want to limit us and what they want to give us access to. So don't know yet, but so for now, I'm just going to leave it at the 1 Rad. But let's hop into a game. So we got a game into Nami. He's going second. This is not a great hand, so we're going to maul. Not much to do here. Unfortunately, Zoro Juro and the 3-drop Law that we get in set 5 are our best on-curve plays. So I think we're just going to go like this, unfortunately. So pretty slow start from us, but Again, we are playing with scuffed version of the deck. I think it still works. I have beaten all the top decks with this deck already multiple times. Green, purple, Dofi, Queen, and Katakuri. It's just, we do a lot. I'm just gonna attach Don anyway, to make him discard a 2K or something. And then we're gonna go wide here. So we'll play Ein. You don't have to remove anything to play something. I know a lot of people have had that question recently. That is not how the deck works. You can either remove something, not play something, or you can not remove something and play something. So that is the way the wording of the card works. So do not let anybody tell you otherwise. They are trying to mess with you or clearly don't know the rules. So next turn we're on 6. I could have put us to 7 to play ace, but I'm just going to play it as is. Okay. That's fine by me. I can double Beppo, essentially, and remove Kaya. So that's pretty good. I also have Law. I think we're doing Law. I could do Shachi Penguin, actually. Let's do that. We'll do this. Discard 2 down to 6. And we'll go 1, 2, 3. Remove that for Shachi Penguin to give us our Don back. And then just go 5. Be honest with you, 5 and 6 are pretty much the same thing against this deck. What did I get rid of, by the way? Just a counter card. So he opts to take. Gets a Spada, which is pretty lucky. And then attacks him. Sounds good. Again, gets another pretty good trigger for 2 more cards. So we're not looking too bad. Let's see. We got a Kaya, a Band, a Pilaf, a Kaya, and a Band. So 2 of each of his pretty important cards. He gets his Rubber Band back. We're still going to be swinging 5 a billion times this turn. Wow. All right, so he's seen 3 Pilaf this game. Must be nice. I'm just going to 2K and 1K. I don't really need the Dawn mine or the power minusing effects. He hasn't played Zeph yet, so I'm pretty safe in that regard. So I'm just gonna swing out. He's at 8 Dawn. We're at 6. Got to tax the hand a little bit. That was his Rubber Band? Yeah. Nojiko. We'll go 7. So he's going to give me 2 cards no matter what it is, even if he plays the bell. I'm sorry, gavel. So we'll take those every day of the week, and then we'll Don minus for another Beppo and pass. So this is what our deck does. It's just leveraging, you know, the fact that we can play 2 to 3 bodies pretty easily in the mid to late game. Early on, 2 bodies is a pretty good way to just stay ahead. You can get rid of whatever. I'm attacking with everything anyway. This isn't really going to be a blocker this game. I don't know why we're going so heavy, unless he's going to attack me to get the 1 mil. Alright. You only needed 9 Don, sir, but okay. We're going to keep attacking 5. Attack 5. He's trying to go low. I think he sequenced very poorly there, unfortunately for him. Alright, well, he hits another draw 2 trigger. My dog is dreaming right now. I think she's running or barking at somebody. Gets the bounce, but our last attack is our leader, so he has to have multiple 2Ks, which this deck doesn't really play more than like 6, from what I've seen, as far as like the de facto Nami list, so that's it. Alright, got a game into Katakuri. I am playing on the Eastern server, so he's definitely going to still have access to all the good stuff. Our hand is mid, but we'll play it out. Again, the deck has access to Gadatsu now, so that's annoying. I'm definitely going to take damage early because of that. And try and deal as much damage as I can to make it not as painful. We'll attack 6. And I could go pretty wide here. It's just going to cost me my hand. Not wide, but like I can get all my Don back. I can actually ramp technically 1 Don here, which would be kind of helpful. But I would lose Law in the process. Definitely not giving up Gordon. I think we could wait a turn. No reason to get too antsy yet. He's gonna attack me presumably anyway, so I'm gonna get an extra card in hand to decide what to discard with Katarina. That's huge for us. No, that's fine. No play, no Parasparrow, nothing, so that's pretty good. If he was gonna do this though, however, my opponent kind of misplayed. You always go 5 and a 7. So being that I can play 1 card here, we're always going to just attach 1, swing 6. Okay, takes the life. Let's see if he gives me something to actually remove. He does, okay. So we'll go Law here, remove there to play Beppo. And we'll use her effect to trash. Obviously Gordon's more important. So now we're up Don. We kind of got ourselves back to where we were. And then I can ace next turn, which will be pretty nice. Again, she acts as just a blocker for me. Like if he takes a turn to attach a Don here, that's good for me. If he attacks there, it's fine. I already got her value, so I'm probably just going to attack with her if he lets me. Looks at the top life, and he's attacking me. So 100% take. For 5 Don, plays the Gadatsu, like I said. Equal. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. So it's only equal to your opponent's life. So, still good card in my opinion. Not as good as I thought it was. I thought it was life combined. Thank God. But anyway, so like I said, this ace is good into these mid-range mirrors because now I'm gonna have a 7-cost body. It's not as good as it could be, obviously, with things like Whitebeard. I think we just attack first, right? Or do I Don minus to get the value off Beppo? We'll do it. Just get rid of it now. Get the Beppo. Get another Beppo trigger. It just helps to mitigate all the Don. He's only at 5 cards, so swinging 5/5/5 is fine. What I really want to see next is either another 2k reducer or a 2-cost reducer or the round table. He hits another trigger. Could be worse. See what he does here. Seven Don. He's gonna play. Seven Mom. It's a good question. Life or death? I'm only gonna have the 2 cards, and if he goes all in on this pudding and a Katakuri attack, I'm probably dead, so you can have it. There's the round table like we wanted. So we'll do it. Then we're at 8, so I'm gonna ramp again. No target. And then we'll go Beppo first. Get a Don back. Go 7 with Law. 7 with Ace. Okay, and then 7 here. Was that 2/2Ks? No, yeah, it was. So his hand is not the greatest. This makes it harder for him to resolve a 10 Mom with all the attackers I have on board. I obviously can 2k counter out of just a 5k swing. Okay. Now we have to go for game. Because, again, I'm not going to be able to survive all these attacks. So, I think it's better to utilize the Don going for big swings. So, we'll go 7. Seven again. So triple 7/9 with only 6 cards between all those to defend. I still have 2 more attacks. He's given me 1, 2, 3, 2 kills. 4, 5. Okay. So is it better to do double 8 here instead now with only 3 cards? And he just throw out 2 more 2k counters. He's down 5 out of 12. Or depending, I really don't know what Katakuri's 2k counter list. It's typically 12. He's been throwing them out though. Unless he's baiting me. But I'm going to take the information that he's given me, and we're going to do it this way. And the cool thing was me having the Don up there. And there we go. Me having the Don up there was like, if that was a Sancho, the last card had to have been a beige for me to lose the game there on the final swing, because a Gordon plus the leader ability would have gave me the game. So there you guys have it. This is my take on Red Purple Law for the 4.5 meta. Gives us pretty strong game. Obviously, I played a Nami deck that is fairly-ish common in the meta that we have right now, just because it doesn't have the worst matchups across the board. And then on top of that, we beat a set 5 upgraded Katakuri deck, which only gets better. So it's a fun deck. Definitely give it a shot if you have the resources to do so. Obviously, these purple cards are kind of annoying to get. Ein, again, for whatever reason, is $3. Uda is 20 something, and then Queen is sitting at that $30 price point. So it's a little rough out here. But if you can play it, definitely take it for a sprint. It's a fun deck. And that's it. I'm looking forward to set 5 so I can hear all the crybabies who whined about red decks for a year to experience the set 5 meta and all the power creep that it entails. So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited for it. I still think it's a skill intensive meta, given that Sakazuki is the best deck and it's a hard deck to pilot. But there are still, some super I'm going to just say it, guys. Some low skill decks that are still really good. So if you do enjoy those types of decks, they are still available. Can't wait to hear about that in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. 4 subscribers away from hitting the 1K, guys. I know my content has been pretty dry lately because of school, but please do hit the subscribe button. And come December, we are going to go back into this game pretty hard. So look forward to that. If you guys didn't know, I also got into Nats, so I'm going to be giving you as much coverage as I can as I prep for Nats as well, so look forward to that. But till then, guys, peace.